Andrea Klim from Turn to the Stars, and today I'm going to be talking about the upcoming full moon that is at its peak of light in Virgo on March 18th. Since this new moon that we had back on March 2nd in Pisces, which was right beside Jupiter in Pisces, showed us a glimpse of what could unfold, especially through the exact alignment of Jupiter and Neptune on April 12th. So Pisces is a very porous, and the symbolism is large with a focus on the ocean and the water. And so it's been pretty sad when you listen to the news hearing about the catastrophic flooding on the East Coast in Australia. And so in some of the areas of the world, there has been some of the worst flooding. There's been suffering through deaths due to flooding. This is primarily Neptune's realm. The path of the solar eclipse back on December 4th, and the path of it went over Australia, and people were stranded. And so I'm sending a lot of love to the people that have had these awful experiences on Earth. But coming back to the full moon in Virgo, which is opposite where the new moon began, this is considered the axis that influences our emotional and physical health. The polarity of Pisces and Virgo at 27 degrees and 41 minutes on March 18th occurs Eastern Standard Time at about 3:43 a.m. So depending if you're in a different time zone, we would need to adjust the time of the exact time of that full moon. So the full moon influences bring issues to a head, and that is where it occurs by transit over your birth chart. So if you look at your birth chart and you find out where Virgo, the cusp that Virgo is ruling of a house in your chart, and look at the degrees, you'll know where this full moon falls. So in your personal life, this can bring things to completion and shine a light on something that you were unaware of previously. And that's shown by the house or the area of your life being lighted up by the full moon. Now for us though, collectively, on a broader scale, it's very likely to shine a light on the detail. That's where Virgo is about, the detailed facts, especially related to health. So this full moon occurs just 2 days before the Aries equinox, the spring equinox on March 20th, that happens at exactly 11:32 a.m. So the sun moves to 0 degrees of Aries, a very action-oriented sign. It's one of the cardinal signs of the zodiac, and it is all about action, movement, progress. So it's a great time to meditate on exactly at that time if you can, because we're springing forward into a new season of activity. So one of the things I do on the Pisces new moon, I planted seeds, and within a week they were coming up. By the time this full moon comes on the 18th, they'll be sprout, really showing their faces to us. And I look forward to seeing those beautiful flowers, the sunflowers, I had different varieties. I call them flowers of the sun. So anyway, that's a great time for planting, especially Pisces. It's a very fertile, water is fertile. So if you have your birth chart, what you can do is just look at the zodiac signs that the planets are in, and if the aspects from the full moon, look at what the aspects to the full moon are to the planets in your chart. If you need help with that, you can contact me at andrea@turntothestars.com. We can look at the effects of this full moon to the planets in your birth chart. Primarily on the lunar cycles, the new moons and the full moons. If you have the new moon connecting with planets in your birth chart, setting off influences of energy and experience, or if you have full moon connecting with planets in your birth chart, you are going to have it's a critical time in your life. You're going to have major experiences. This is an important time to pay attention to. And understanding what this means is very, very powerful and helpful as far as timing goes, as far as knowing how to react, knowing when to be quiet, knowing when to focus on certain areas. So that's something that you might want to get in touch with me if you are having some of these major life-changing experiences. I can really help you out with that and with any of the services that I offer. Anyway, so coming back to this full moon, this new moon is called a singleton because it's on its own. Regards to Neptune and Jupiter conjoined, this brings up also our emotional health, which is highlighted on this axis of this mutable Virgo full moon opposite the Sun, Neptune, Jupiter, and Mercury in Pisces. So this is a very powerful axis that supports healthy discernment. As I said earlier, this is a pure energy as well as a very powerful mystical influence. This is the axis of Virgo and Pisces. So we have this powerful team of planets in Pisces opposite the Virgo full moon, and it suggests it is time for purification and detox as we move forward towards April 12th. It's a great time to go on a cleansing diet or to seek assistance from some deeply ingrained behavioral patterns you've experienced. I'm doing that. As I said earlier, if you are having major experiences in your life, and even if you're not, this is a great time on the spring equinox to do a purification or do a cleanse. Uh, Look at your health as a whole, because it will be highlighted at this time through this Virgo full moon energy. So we are supported to optimize purification at this time of our physical bodies as well as our spirits. And what I really love about this full moon is that it is very positive. It forms a grand trine. As you can see on the chart, it looks like a big pyramid or a triangle. A harmonious, which is a very harmonious and a supportive energy with Pluto and Capricorn, and the North Node and the Earth sign of Taurus. So there's also two diamond soul energies or kites being formed. And one of these points to this beautiful group of planets in Pisces. The diamond soul, if you go on my website and look under articles, there's a lot of information about the gem souls, the diamond soul, the emerald soul, the ruby soul. These were things that I channeled years ago. And if you have these sacred configurations in your birth chart, it has a very powerful meaning. It tells what type of soul you are. So this inspires us to be very compassionate, sensitive, empathetic, and believe that we are safe and secure in the face of adversity. Now the other diamond or kite points to the South Node and supports us to recognize and identify patterns of behavior from the past related to other people's values, financial areas, money, investments, unhealthy and toxic behaviors, as well as the shadow sides of our being. So Scorpio energy supports a very deep dive into areas of our past where we can identify what's been packed away and hidden. This is very powerful at this time in our history here on Earth, as the South Node is in Scorpio. So the South Node reminds us of where we've been in the past, where we may find comfort, and where we may need to go through some transitions, but first to identify what that looks like. So once we identify these areas, it becomes like the phoenix. We're able to transform pain into strength. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the diamond soul energy now, or as I've referred to by traditional astrologers as a kite, and it carries 7 rays of colorful light, which can be recognized as the colors in the rainbow. They're also associated with the 7 major chakras. So the diamond soul carries 7 beams of light, which come from the energy of its inner diamond, inner spirit of reflection. The 7 rays, which we now have very present on this full moon, we have 2 diamond energies. The 7 rays, which we have now within our grasp to work with, come through our will. So the 7 rays carry a very supportive inner strength, which supports us to initiate and take action. And then through connecting with others and their vibration, we're able to bring forth a more loving transition and a unity begins. So at this point, there's an evolution or an evolvement which takes place because we were able to recognize a cause, enacted and expressed our inner light for peace and healing. So through the vibration of these 2 diamond soul energies on this full moon, we're all being asked to step past our fears and to be present in its vibration so that our lights can shine and reflect outwardly into the world a powerful light of healing. And each time we connect with others, healing occurs, our light grows even brighter. And the diamond soul is truly one which is very beautiful, and it is asking to be released through the power and love that is within our hearts. So each time we allow this vibrant, healing diamond energy to connect with others, we are sending its reflection of light outwardly, and others will experience a powerful enlightening of their soul and their spirit. So whenever we have aspects between the moon and Pluto, which we have on this full moon, and especially on a full moon, very powerful. It can be very intense because full moons bring up powerful emotions, and it can feel like we're being tested because you have the moon opposite the sun. On this full moon, we have the moon standing by itself opposite Jupiter, Neptune, the sun, and Mercury. So we actually have Mercury here, Jupiter, Neptune, and the sun. So the sun encapsulates and Mercury encapsulate Neptune and Jupiter. Very powerful when you have a conjunction like this, a stellium like this, showing up on a full moon. So the point of the diamond is also, in reference to the diamond energy, is referred to as the direction that the heavens are pointing us toward, where opportunities will arise for us to shine our inner light. This indicates there are many light beings all around us, and this is a very positive sign of spiritual help flowing through us. So there's this full light on this full moon, which is a very enlightening energy. So it's completely empowering us, and it's very highlighted. This diamond connects at its base to the north node. Excuse me, I have an itchy nose. The north node tells us the direction we should be focused on in the future. So this refers to our collective destiny. Now the north node base or strength of the diamond comes from the purity of the soul and its ability to act in a positive, harmonious manner to change and transform all that it comes into contact with. And the opposition or connecting stream, as you can see in the chart up on the right hand side, crosses through the diamond, and it provides a sense of direction and focus. And it's through the differences of those oppositions or connecting streams of energy that this strong diamond energy encounters. It's heightened our awareness, because that's what oppositions do. They're always to do with outside forces, other people in our lives. So through these connections, we become even more aware amongst all parties involved. We become aware of the differences and the likenesses and how we can help each other or not help each other, how to connect deeper or not. So it's always a decision. So, but the connections can bring a tremendous amount of healing or feeling better. So it's important to recognize that the opposition in the diamond are windows that are opening in order for us to spread our inner light. Buddha actually identified the diamond soul energy and the inner strength it brings for survival, saying it's a spiritually strong and unbreakable energy. And that's what we have on this full moon, two of them. This divine inner light shines strong with the diamond soul energy, but the question comes to the diamond soul: will we accept the opposition, accept the awareness, and recognize how and where we are being asked to shine the light of our soul? So this is it brings a very solid feeling of building power or stepping into our power and building things that are solid and sturdy, that hold value and will be sustainable. That's actually the north node of the moon that this diamond is lighting up, and the full moon. So the Mercury, Jupiter, Neptune, and Sun cluster of planets in Pisces inspires us to be dedicated to a spiritual path. It's also supportive of identifying some deeply trapped or hidden feelings or emotions, especially as we get closer to April 12th, when Jupiter and Neptune are exactly aligned. So I'm going to give you some deeper insight into Neptune. It is the field of dreams, or it can be a den of illusion. Is it the Holy Grail, or is it an outlandish planet? From the divine to the ridiculous, this planet defies description. It evades the real world, and it reminds us that this earthly plane is one small manifestation of true reality. There's much to love and much to hate about this giant gas planet. Its intention is dissolving attachment, our attachments to the physical realm. So for those with control issues, Neptune is an exercise in resolving these issues. For those on a spiritual path, Neptune shows the way. So what qualities would you say you can develop to make the best of this puzzling planet? And that's a really good question, especially that it supports us to go deep within our psyche, into the deepest parts of our consciousness. So Neptune and Jupiter, as I said earlier, are at the midpoint between the Sun and Mercury in Pisces on this full moon. So this is going to be felt and experienced as enlightenment of our minds and spirits. The picture the planets paint tells us that we are moving into big, chaotic, and turbulent ground on a 3D level. So it is important that we recognize this beautiful opportunity with these 4 planets in Pisces on this full moon. This energy supports us to step up and reach for a high point of view, a higher state of being. The conjoining of Mercury and Jupiter inspires expansive, creative thinking. So any kind of creative writing should flow easily along with artistic visions and creations. On this full moon, Mercury is sextile to Uranus, and this inspires original ideas, original thinking, epiphanies, insights, and inspiration. And it's important to remember as we move through this week, every day that full moon will get brighter and brighter and brighter. So emotions are going to grow, light is going to grow, the ability to see beyond is going to grow, but also to bring it back and use it in a practical way, which is the full moon in Virgo, a healthy way. So use your dreams, as I've been saying. Keep a dream journal if you don't normally, and utilize this full moon energy, this axis of Pisces and Virgo, and its connection with the North Node and the South Node, meaning our forward direction and our past. Utilize this energy to tap into your higher guidance. So there's some other things I want to point out which grow stronger, strengthen within the day of the full moon. That is Mars and Venus. I talked about this last week on my show. Mars and Venus are conjoined in Aquarius, and on the full moon is exactly square to Uranus at 12 degrees of Taurus. So what this does is it brings a strong urge for freedom, a strong urge for human rights, and rebellious, revolutionary energy. This energy could bring a lot of protests and demonstrations. We've seen this in the past, and this continues to be going on throughout this year as well, and maybe stronger than last year. In other shows, you've heard me talk about Eris. Eris is the goddess of discord, and she is at 24 degrees in Aries, and she squares Pluto in Capricorn. And like I said earlier, I've talked about this in the past. So this signifies that the street fighter that's wanting justice is fighting against, and who is fighting against control, which is associated with government, politics, and big business, which is Pluto and Capricorn. So we have some very clear themes that are coming through this full moon energy. And then on March 19th, the day after the full moon, Venus becomes exactly square to Uranus. And this indicates that there's going to be a lot of turbulence in the financial markets also, meaning the stock market, areas where we've invested. So that's something to be watchful of. If this occurs, if this Mars and Venus occurs in your fifth house and seventh house of relationships, fifth house is romance, fun, playing, creativity, and seventh house is all about relationship, personal, business, both are under this area. There may be a new relationship on the horizon for you. So that's something that I can help you with also. So Mars is going to become exactly square to Uranus on the 22nd. So this could bring fireworks, explosions, and eruptive experiences. This carries the signature of earthquakes, volcanoes, because this is occurring in the fixed signs of Aquarius and Taurus. So fixed means that this energy is strong, it's very latent and unchangeable energy, which is unfolding. So if there are areas of tension that you are experiencing or you're in the midst of, there's most likely going to be some blowups. Squares are primarily 90-degree angles and show where tension is built up that we have no place, and it really has no place to go. So its experiences can make us feel if we're under attack. So 90-degree angles are challenging. They encourage us to grow, to be strong, to work through the challenges and the roadblocks and the difficulties along the way. And that's what this is. So Mars and Venus are squaring Uranus. So the result is earthquakes. From an earthly standpoint, can be earthquakes, volcanoes, lightning bolts, storms, and this also holds a signature of cyber attacks as well, because Mars is in Aquarius, which refers to huge groups of people that form countries. Uranus rules technology and the internet, and this square indicates difficulties and negative experiences. So be careful to back everything up on your computer. Uh, any place you've stored information, make sure you have a second copy of it, because this could be very shocking and it can bring many surprises. This can also be very well a revolutionary energy in the future. So it's going to be an intense full moon, and it's happening just 2 days before the action-oriented Aries spring equinox. So all the seasons are marked by 0 degrees of the cardinal sign. So Aries marks spring equinox, Cancer marks the summer solstice, Capricorn marks the winter equinox, and again, Aries brings in the spring. And that's the sun is always at 0 degrees of those signs. So the sun moves into 0 degrees of Aries, and on this spring equinox, the moon has moved to 0 degrees of Aries, and the moon will be at 29 degrees of Libra on the equinox and will square Pluto and Capricorn. So this brings up the long running square between Eris and Pluto, and that we have felt this for the last 2 years, and it's going to continue all of this year. So anywhere there's discord due to powerful government, political, and big business control, the full moon will ignite the emotions of the people. The moon is the people. If you're looking at a universal chart, or you're looking at the moon in a country's chart, the moon always represents the people. So we're likely to experience challenges and difficulties around climate, nature, and our food supplies. All Also to remember all the things I've been saying about Jupiter and Neptune conjunction will not be over in April. The influence are going to resonate all through the next 12 months, which is wonderful because this is constantly giving us the opportunity to tune into this elevated sense towards spiritual enlightenment. Another influence of these two large planets is that they inspire a feeling of angelic energy. Really supports us to connect to the light of unconditional love and resolve areas where we've suffered. And at this time, this is just some more scientific information, the Earth is moving through the photon belt. So we're experiencing waves of evolutionary energy coming in. So light carries information, and we're absorbing that light into our bodies from the heavens, from outside the boundaries of Earth. And the question becomes, how much light can we hold? Our level of consciousness will determine how much light we can hold in our bodies. And the physics of the light is unstoppable. So nobody, whoever you are, despite if you're wealthy, despite your title, despite your company status, can stop this powerful frequency in the physics of light, which is upgrading our DNA every single moment. So even if it's a cloudy day, we shouldn't worry about this. This elevated frequency of light comes to the Earth. So it's very exciting, and at the same time, the magnetics of the Earth feel very odd. And I was doing some research, and I found that cosmologists say that since 2018 to 2020, the number of coronal mass ejections causing storms has become exponential. It has caused disruptive and destabilizing energy influences. So the massive flares of energy from the sun are also bringing in new information at the same time. So we have photonic light, mass ejections, new energy, new information, what is being looked at as a way that is upgrading our bodies from the state of being that we are to more light bodies. And this is being called the new human in the natural organic way. It's almost like we're being reprogrammed, so to speak, through this light. So this can feel very wild, and the physical symptoms and the emotional symptoms are bringing extreme fatigue and tiredness. So if you feel that, just go to bed, just sleep, because it allows your body to rest while this is happening. So if you have these feelings, it's perfectly normal. And even if you're sleeping, you're going to still be absorbing the light. I don't know if you know Lee Carroll. He's a channeler of Cryon, who I've followed for many years. He's a light being, and he's been channeling information from Cryon for many, many years. And if we look at what he has to say and what scientists have to say, it's very much the same. Large groups of scientists say the magnetic field of our DNA is interacting directly with the magnetic field of the Earth. They say in the study of the physiology and the spiritual side of the heart, it revealed that this interaction of consciousness in the magnetic fields of the Earth, and what Cryon and a lot of spiritual psychics, spiritual channels are saying the exact same thing. So we're seeing it scientifically, cosmologically, astrologically, and we're hearing this amongst people who are sensitive channels, as I said before. So even though these are wild and rocky times, there's still going to be, and we're going to still experience a lot of turbulence as we move through 2022. But at the same time, we have the opportunity, should we choose it, to become dramatically upgraded as beings of light. And it is very, very clear that there's two timelines operating now. There's the technological timeline, which is clearly unfolding, and there's a much higher timeline, which is the Virgo Pisces influence, spiritual influence, and how we take that spiritual energy and bring it to the world and be of help to others on our path. So, one of the questions that I thought about as I was preparing the show is, and it always comes up with this Virgo Pisces axis, is how can we be of practical service to others, Virgo, and at the same time offer spiritual service to others? Because Pisces does invite us to be a bright light, become a light, or a lightning. So if you're listening to this, you can become a beacon of light in the world to help others. And there's a lot of wisdom that's carried through this energy of this Pisces Virgo axis. So be very wise and be very conscious on how your thoughts and your emotions are moving through the day. So be conscious of what you're thinking about, what you're feeling. Slow down to take and examine what these are. So right now we are all experiencing massive trauma, and some horrible things are happening in the world. Because we're human, we're empathetic, and it's very easy to be held captive, and that is very much a part of our humanity. So there's two sides to Neptune. There's the side that is spiritual, beautiful, creative, and mystical, and on the other side is the victim. So we can either think we're a victim, or we could raise ourselves up and really recognize the beautiful side of Neptune, which helps us to dissolve and resolve things in our lives. So if we get too focused on fear, we're going to be captivated by fear and attracting more fearful things into our lives. This is a law of attraction. So it's important to be very aware of this. We should put ourselves up on a perch like eagles do and stay on that perch long enough that we can be helpful. So it only takes a tiny percentage of us to shift the whole collective. So keep focused on the bigger picture, stay focused on love, stay in gratitude, stay in appreciation. Make sure you identify these things every single day because, as I said before, there's a lot of traumatic and disruptive energies happening with the war that's going on with Russia and Ukraine, and also in our country you're seeing protests. And so it's really important to recognize and be grateful that all that we do have. So do your best to live from your heart, because for every negative there is a positive. As we focus on these things, we're connecting with the light of the earth. And as we stay connected to positivity and the light, we are creating our future forms. There's strength in numbers, and so altogether we are creating this form on Earth. And it really is up to us. If we are in victim mode, we are most likely to draw that same energy toward us. If we are in an empowered mode, living through our hearts, we're going to be empowered through developing love, peace, and joy, which helps us as a whole, even if we're sitting alone at home on our sofas. So if we can do this individually, we're being a practical and an energetic spiritual service to others. So I hope that this video has helped, because this is really crucial at this time as we move through this turbulence, as this is such a pivotal time in our Earth's history. We need to become masterful and wise and very conscious. Neptune's energy combines with Jupiter's energy, and it brings forth deep wisdom. I remember when my daughter was born, she was born on the axis of Pisces rising her chart on the ascendant. And I remember looking into her face because she has so much Pisces energy, and it looked like she was wise beyond her years. So you can see this when you look into people's faces where they're at. So it's important how we use our energy because thoughts become things, thoughts have energy, and this energy becomes matter, creating the road toward a better future. And remember, all Pisces, if you were born between February 18th and March 18th, I'm sorry, February 18th, wait a minute. Yes, around February 18th into March, around the 20th or so, is when the sun changes into the next sign. So if you're born in this period, in this month, you're a Pisces, and so that means that you have. I've put together a special birthday gift for you, which is 20% off a 1 hour reading, and you can register for this as a gift for yourself or for someone you love who is a Pisces, and you do need to use this. You do need to use this during the Pisces month also. So if you're at a turning point in your life, if you've got major experiences happening, this will save you $20 on your reading. So, and I also have subscriptions I wanted to mention, which are a wonderful thing where you actually save, I believe it's $248 on 6 hours of readings. So if you are someone who's at a really important place in your life and you'd like some support, some help with your astrology, help with spiritually connecting to to a higher consciousness, or you're looking for some past life work, or even looking into the past for healing, or looking for ways to feel better and be more positive in your life, I can help you with that. So you do get 6 hours of reading. So that's something you can look on my website for. At the top row, if you're on a computer, the top row has all the buttons where you can look and see what the drop downs are, look for reading or for shamanic healing. That is all on my website. So if you're on a cell phone, there's 3 dashes in the top right corner of my website. If you click on that, it has a huge drop down so you can see all those areas. So I do want to wish you a perfect and beautiful full moon in Virgo, and remind you that April is going to be a high energy month that is both active and eventful. And we're going to be having, at the end of April, the first set of eclipses starting to unfold. So I hope you'll be in touch, and I want to remind you to take good care, and remember, turn to the stars and you're going to find your answers there. It has been my go-to for 24 years now, and so I'd love to help you. I'd love to talk to you. Take good care. I'll see you next week.